Zechariah 8. Again the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus saith the Lord, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called the city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for a very age, and the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith the Lord of hosts. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. Isaiah 11. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion, and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them, and the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea.
So what we're doing is we're heralding, announcing the coming of the next world, the coming of righteousness, the establishment of a righteous kingdom and the proper people that belong in it.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. And what I want to get into today, dealing with, all right, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, all right, which is a heavy chapter, which it comes out a lot, because we're in those times, all right, or that wicked, which it speaks of in this scripture, in this chapter, okay, being revealed, okay, the son of perdition, okay, which is Esau Edom, so we in the time, all right, with wicked, all right, that the Bible speaks of, which is Esau, Edom, is constantly being revealed. Okay, there's no doubt. All right, that Esau, Edom, all right, the so-called white people that run the earth, okay, are the wicked that the Bible speaks of, and all their descendants, from, Joe Sixpack to the elite bankers. If you are of the descendant of Esau, Edom, okay, you are part of the wicked, okay? And that's what's being revealed in these last days. And this is why we see, okay, the wicked Esau, Edom, push forward towards his new world order. All right. And within his new world order, this man wants complete control. He never wants to have to deal with an uprising, okay, in his kingdom anymore. And that's why he's you know, conjuring up, he's conjured up this digital prison, all right, this digital scheme, okay, to forward his wicked empire, okay, but he's going to fail. All right, so this is a heavy chapter. It comes out. I say it comes out a lot. The brothers refer, to Second Thessalonians. Dealing with this man being revealed. So let's get into it. Lord will, you brothers. All right, and you sisters are edified. Now this is the book of Second Thessalonians, chapter 2 and 1. It says, "Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by spirit, nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand." So he's constantly, reaffirming them, okay, to stay strong, to stand firm, in the midst of everything that they're going through, okay? Because remember, Thessalonica, was suffering a lot of persecution. So Paul would always, constantly reaffirm them, okay, not to be shaken, be troubled, okay, in the spirit, you know, certain things that, are written to them. He's telling them, "Look, don't be troubled or shaken in the spirit," you know, always reminding them of the end game, which was the kingdom. Okay, so when we come down the stretch, we can't be shaken in mind or trouble, because we finna see some things, finna go through some things as believers. Okay, we finna be tried. Okay, but we can't be shaken. Now you keep reading. It said, "Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." Okay, and they came a falling away with us. That had to happen first, because this is before 70 AD. When these epistles are being written. I think Apostle Paul died, a few years before 70 AD, around about 64, 65 AD, during Nero. Okay. So right before, you had, the Roman, all right, what they call Roman Jewish wars, which, there's Roman and the Romans and the Jews, all right, Southern Kingdom at the time in Judea. Okay. They started really having, conflicts in 66, 67. Okay. And that was before, that was after the Apostle Paul, had already been beheaded. Okay. So he's telling them that that has to be a great falling away to come first. And that was the beginning of their falling away, because as we was dispersed from Judea, a lot of Jake fled into, the interiors of Africa, through the Atlas Mountains. As Yahushua told them to flee, through the mountains. All right, you had those that mountain range in northern Africa called the Atlas Mountains. Okay, that you had to go through coming from the north, which Israel is north. Okay, of Africa. All right, and they fled into the interiors of Africa. Jake, had their thing going, for generations, but Jake will begin to, fall away. That's where You know, the southern kingdom, especially Levi, got into a lot of their voodoo and witchcraft from being amongst them Hamites. Okay, Benjamin, you know, getting into that, and then dark magic amongst them Hamites. You see, and eventually, you know, the transatlantic slave trade came, and what remnant, okay, of our culture that we had, okay, was beaten out of us through captivity, man, through slavery, okay, to where the scriptures say their dead bodies shall lie in the street of spiritual, all right, Egypt and Sodom, okay, which is America, okay, because it got to a point to where we were just completely spiritually dead. We fell all the way away, okay, but that had to happen. So the falling away shall come first, and the man of sin, all right, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Matter of fact, let's get this precept to just go with it. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21. All right, and 20 yep, Luke 21 and 24 says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, okay, speaking of 70 AD, and shall be led away captive into all nations. All right, the transatlantic slave trade, the sub-Saharan slave trade, you know, and then Jake was even, you know, being taken captives in 70 AD, you know, so you had some Jakes being taken captive during that time when Jerusalem fell, okay, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, which are these actual heathens, okay, as you have these Ishmaelites and Amalekites, all right, warring over their land. You got different other heathens in there, Cushites over there, you know, but it's being trodden down by actual heathens, man, until the times of the Gentiles, all right, be fulfilled. Okay? So this is where we are now, the time of the Gentiles being fulfilled, because all these other things have happened. So now we're living in the fulfillment of the time of these heathens, all right, being in power, all right, being led by Esau, Edom, and these heathens being in our land. Okay, we're in the time of their fulfillment. And part of it, and right, goes back to the son of perdition being revealed. Okay, because he's about to be judged. You see? So let's go here. Because I want to get that word perdition. Okay, so you get this word, the son of perdition.
Strong's G 684. Apoleia. Apoleia.
Apoleia. All right, it said destroying or the destruction of vessels. Okay, perishing, ruin, destruction. Okay, so Esau, Edom, all right, he was created to be destroyed. You know, he was created to destroy and be destroyed. Okay, so you did that vessel of wrath. All right, so it says of vessels. So we're gonna play off that, and it said destroying other destruction, a perishing, a ruin, a destruction. Okay, so you go here in the book of Romans, the 9th chapter, and we'll start at 13 and read into it. Okay. All right, so you go into Romans chapter 9, verse 13. It says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved and Esau have I hated. You know, because you go into 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, and falling away is dealing with Jacob, the son of perdition dealing with Esau. Okay, because prophecy centers around these two people. All right, Jacob and Esau. Okay, you know how Jacob is, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Okay, So the narrative of Jacob and Esau, these two nations, these two people, all right, and their condition in the earth, okay, is all centered around prophecy. Okay, is this appointed for Esau to rule with the sword at this time before, all right, the kingdom of Jacob, which Yahushua is going to usher that in through war, all right, against Esau. Okay, it says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved and Esau have I hated. What shall we say then that their unrighteousness with the Most High? The Most High forbid. For he said unto Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So the Lord, all right, created Esau to be the hated. Okay, he created him to be the man of sin. Okay, for the Lord's purpose, man. You see, because this man Esau Edom, because other heathens are guilty, having wicked empires. That's why the Lord, brought them down. Okay, but this man went all out his way to make sin a culture in his society. No one rebelled like Esau. Okay, and he was created to be that way. And the Lord hate that nigga, man. Okay? And there's no unrighteousness in the Most High. He does what he wants. And he has a purpose, okay, in righteousness for doing what he does. It said faith. It said, for he said to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of the Most High that showeth mercy. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So this puts Esau, all right, parallel with Pharaoh, showing you that in the same way that the Lord raised up Pharaoh to showcase his power, he's done the same thing to Esau, okay, the son of perdition. Because what did he do to Pharaoh? He destroyed him. He destroyed that empire. Okay, he removed Egypt from being a superpower on the earth. And what he's going to do to America is going to be on a much grander scale. Okay, his name is going to be magnified on a scale, all right, above what happened in ancient Egypt during the first Exodus, man. Okay, this second Exodus, okay, from America, which is what spiritual Egypt, okay, is going to far outdo and surpass that first Exodus, okay, from ancient Egypt, okay. So it said, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, that thy name might be declared throughout all the earth, man. And this is a scripture of comfort, because as we look at Esau and how he's been built up, his technology, his money, his, his wealth, his influence, he's tapped in on the left-hand side, it's like, damn, but then we read scriptures like that and understand the Lord has this man built up so the Lord can show his power. Okay. It says, therefore have he mercy on him whom he will have mercy, and whom he will he harden. And Esau is hardening right now. Okay. Because Esau, he has to stay the course. All right. So he can be punished, so he can be judged. Okay. So Esau is hard, to constantly rebel. All right. To blaspheme, and to try to be the Most High. He's hard on that quest. All right. So he can be brought to the King of Terrors, man. Okay. Just so the Lord can show his power in the earth. Okay. Said, thou wilt then say unto me, why doth he yet find fault? For who have resisted his will? Nay, but O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High? Shall a thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Okay, because people get offended. We used to bring this out a lot, Romans 9:13. That the Lord will create a nation. Okay, and then create that nation to be displeasing to him, and he hate that nation. Okay? They're like, well, if no one resisted his will and he put the will on him to be the wicked, why do he hate him? Well, the Lord does what he wants to do. And it's a righteous purpose in whatever the Lord is doing. Okay? And for this time, we have the understanding that the Lord created this man to be the wicked, and the Lord hates him for being the wicked. Okay? That's what the Lord wants to do. Okay? Who can reply? Because if we have something to say about it, that means we got it figured out above the Most High. Remember, the Most High has eternity figured out. Think about that. He got eternity figured out. You see? So he fully knows what he's doing when he established Esau as the wicked. Okay? And that he hate that nigga. He is the son of perdition. He's the vessel of wrath, as we're going to go into. Okay? And trying to respond against that. All right. Yeah, you're outside your pay grade, man. It says, I will say then unto me, why doth he yet find fault, for who have resisted his will? Nay, but O man, who art thou that replies against the Most High? Shall a thing formed say to him that formed it, why has I made me thus? And that's the role that Esau was given to play in the movie, man. Okay? Was the wicked and to be hated. The Lord created him for that. You know, that's the end of that. That's what he's created to be. Trying to find some loophole to try to save him, and no, that's not what he was created for, is salvation. Okay, he's a son of perdition. Okay, said he had not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. All right, so Jacob and Esau come from the same father and mother. Okay, hey, but they're two different. The scriptures say two nations, two manner of people. Okay, Jacob had a different destiny than Esau. Okay, Jacob is that vessel of honor, and Esau a vessel of dishonor. Okay, it said, what if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? Okay, so the Most High, willing to show his wrath and show his power, just like he did ancient Pharaoh, he has allowed the devil to become powerful, to create this wicked environment in the earth, and now it makes him perfect, all right, to be destroyed. You see, Esau the perfect vessel to be destroyed, and everything that he's built up. Okay, so this is how the Lord has it mapped out. Okay, so Esau is this vessel of wrath, all right, that's fitted for destruction, the son of perdition. Okay, so go back to 2 Thessalonians. All right. Verse 3 again said, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High. See, this lets us know who this man is. What nation of people exalt themselves as if they're above the Most High? Okay, the technology, they're scientists, and their philosophies are transcending above what's already established. Okay, who's at the forefront of pushing that in the world? Esau, Edom. Okay, it says, or that is worship, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Okay, and this what this whole new world order is about. This devil, being the Most High. Okay, he wants to control the complete control that the Most High has. Okay, he wants the complete authority that the Most High has. This is what this devil, is trying to bring forth through his digital, his digital world. This is why he needs people to merge with machines, okay, that gives him more control, more surveillance, more, okay. You see, Neuralink, he wants to control your spirit. You see, he wants to control your thoughts, your feelings. He wants to know your thoughts. Okay, so this whole new world order is about him, okay, making himself the most high through left hand means. Okay, and this is what we see this devil doing, okay, real time, and this is what he will be doing right before the Lord will remove this man from power. Okay, you go into a few precepts, it shows you that this man is obsessed, okay, with trying to be likened unto the Most High. Okay, you go to Isaiah 47. Let's get the couple. Isaiah 47. This Isaiah 47:7 says, "And thou sayest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither did I remember the latter end of it." Okay? So this is the mind of these devils when they came, in the power, especially when America was established and America began to dominate the whole earth. Okay? In their mind, like, shit, we got it. We can never fall. He wasn't thinking about the latter end and the judgment of the Lord. Esau has tunnel vision. He's hardened, okay, to be tapped into what he want to do next, what he got going on, not the judgment at the latter end, okay? In his mind, he's able to sidestep judgment now. He has the power and technology and, philosophy and dark magic that he can sidestep the judgment now. Okay, he said, "Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children." Okay, so in his mind, he says, "What? I am. Only the Most High can say I am." Okay, but Esau, Edom, in his mind, he's like, "I am. I can create this. I can modify the weather. I can modify animals. I can re-engineer existence." This is what this devil, this is how this devil is thinking, man. Okay, it's way beyond, Democrats and Republicans, you know, it's way beyond that, man. Okay, these higher ups, these elites, in their mind, they really think that they can re-engineer, okay, existence, man, creation. And customize and modify to their liking. Okay, so his mind, I am. So you go here. Let's go back to get that in Isaiah too. There's quite a few. The devil. Let's get to the point. Isaiah 14:14 says, in fact, I start 13 says, "For thou hast said in thine heart, it is mine." Okay, I said the scriptures reveal the mind of Esau, the elites. Okay, wickedness in high places. The Lord, all right, through scriptures reveals their mind. That's why it says in thy heart. We just read Isaiah 47. Thy heart, I am. This is how this man thinks. This is how his spirit is made, man. Okay, I will ascend into the heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of the Most High. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Okay, and this is going back to his sea hip as well. That's why he wants to put the sea hip in everyone. Okay, he wants the children of Israel in captivity forever. He wants to rule over Israelites forever. And that's a mockery to the Most High, to keep Israel in sin and to rule over them forever. You remember the scriptures say the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Okay? So this devil in his mind, he's the new God of Israel. You see? This is what Esau is at with it. He gonna be the God of Israel forever. Okay? And this is how we know this devil is done, because he has been so offensive to Yahweh Bashim Shai. He's done. Just by that alone, how offensive and blasphemous this man has been towards our power. This man is done, man. Okay, he says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Okay, and that's his number one ambition, is to be like the Most High. Because the elites got the money. Now you have the super rich, their underlings, the Musk, the Bezos. Okay, they're using this time as a money grab. You know, it's a money grab for them. But when you go into the people that they answer to, okay, it's about power. They want to be like the Most High. Okay, so when you go back to Second Thessalonians, all right, 2 Thessalonians 2:4 says, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he is the Most High, sits in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. Remember ye not that when I was with you, I was yet with you, I told you these things, all right? And now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. And this is the time of the devil being revealed. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So this devil has an appointed time to where the Lord will allow him to reign and terrorize the earth, man. Okay? And the mystery of iniquity doth already work, because pagan Rome was in power during the time of these epistles. All right, during the time of the apostles, well, you had what? The Roman Empire, Edom, Rome. Okay, and when Esau came back during the Renaissance, what did he revive? Edom, Rome. He pressed play, okay, where the Roman Empire left off. You know, the Middle Ages, what Esau called the Dark Ages, okay, when Jake was ruling, you know, in Europe and Russia, okay. During that time, all right, the Lord had put pause, okay, on the Roman Empire, you know, the Western Roman Empire, which that was the pagan Roman Empire, you know, because you had the Byzantine Empire, which, you know, he was pagan as well. You know, you go to Constantine, you know, the founder of that, okay, but he was tolerant of Christianity. He so-called converted, you know, which that was more political, but um, you had Christianity tolerated during the Holy Roman Empire. They was persecuted under Edom, Rome, you know, and then even you had Jake emperors that persecuted, you know, Christians as well. They began under Edom, okay, but nonetheless, all right, the deadly wound was healed, all right, and he was allowed to rule for what, a season, okay. And watch scripture say what, he shall be loose a little season. You see, let's get there real quick. Okay, so we in that little season of this devil being loose, letting you know that it's a time. All right, it's a time limit on this devil's rulership. You know why the Lord calls it a season. You know, when he speaks about the kingdom of Israel, it speaks of everlasting. All right, this is Revelation 21. It says, I saw an angel come down from heaven. This is Yahweh Shai, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. Okay, and this bottomless pit okay, was over in Eastern Europe. The devil was pushed off to the side, land bearing, resources, okay, and he was subjugated, okay, to not having any power on the earth, Someone was servants under, the Byzantines and other different empires, okay. So Esau was put, okay, in captivity. His rulership was put on pause. Okay. And it says that he laid hold on the dragon, that old servant, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, man. It's speaking of Esau, that dragon, all right, which is pagan Rome, that old serpent, all right, that spirit of witchcraft, all right, that's in Esau, because that old serpent, which was a man, that went back to the garden, okay, the seed of the wicked, okay, which later that spirit came back as Esau, man. Okay, which is the devil, the deceiver, and Satan, the adversary. Okay, because Esau's kingdoms are all adverse to righteousness, man, and they're full of deception. They're full of deception and they're adverse to righteousness, man. All right, and this man, all right, worships Satan. He's the physical counterpart of Satan in the earth, man. Okay, but he was bound in 1,000 years. It says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nation no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season. So we're in that little season. Okay, and season goes to what? It references a time, showing you that this man has a time limit. Let's see if it give us some when we go to word season, all right, which the Greek word is chronos. Okay, the word chronos, all right, it says time, either long or short. Okay, space of time. You see, space of time. You see that? A particular period. Okay, so Esau has this little space of time to rule, and we're at the very end of it. Okay, and this is why the devil is scrambling. He wants to make his season eternal. Like I say, this devil has his hands full. Okay, and that's why you can tell he just can't focus on one thing. This devil has his hands full. He's everywhere. Okay, and it says, verse 7, 2 Thessalonians 2:7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only who let it will let until he be taken out of the way. And this is this small season. Okay, and it says, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. That's the chariot, man. But this devil is being revealed. Okay, there's nothing he can do to hide himself, man. He had grown accustomed to operating in the shadows, being the unknown. Okay, but the spirit of the Lord through the prophets, okay, has revealed this man. That you have even his own tongue falling upon him. Okay, so he's revealed on every side. Okay, he is the wicked that the Bible speaks of. He is Satan. Okay, the devil. Okay, the son of perdition. That's him. Okay, the workers of iniquity, the man of sin. This is Esau. Okay, that he represents Satan in the earth. You see, but the Lord has what revealed this man in due time. Let's go to Jeremiah 49. Real quick, Jeremiah 49:10. It said, but I have made Esau bare. Okay. had made him bare, and revealed. I have uncovered his secret places. So this puts a name on it. Esau. Okay, and he shall not be able to hide himself, man. There's Esau can't undo him being revealed. And this is why he just want to control, he want to try to control, okay, the narrative. Okay. He wants to censor. That's why he wants to bring heavy censorship. Okay, but he can't undo him being revealed. He out there now. You know, the Lord got this man center stage. Okay. That's why there's this call for, you know, scientific racism, which makes him superior to everyone. See, he's revealed. Okay, and there's nothing he can do, all right, to hide himself, man. It said his seed is spoiling his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Okay, because first will be him being revealed, and then okay, he's going to be spoils of war. You remnant, all right, the remnant of you Edomites are going to be spoils of war. Okay, but first you will have to be what revealed, and that's happening. Verse 9 says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders, man. Okay, and he's able to bring this technology, you know, which his latest lying wonder is AI. You know, but the devil, you know, he's been able to present, you know, technology, you know, which when you go into his technology, is all rooted in witchcraft, man. Okay, but he's been able to have, you know, this micro technology. Okay, people worship, you know, their phones, you know, social media. They you know, the devil has presented technology that people worship. You know, but it's all a lying wonder. Okay, so he will come in the energy of Satan with all these different powers and signs and, you know, lying wonders that he was able to do. You know, so the Lord gave this man, you know, a portion of power on the left hand side. All right, to produce, you know, these lying wonders, man, through technology. Okay, and he's created a society where people, okay, they worship these lying wonders. Okay, it says, and with all deceivableness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And this is you Israelites that are enchanted, okay, by who? The God of this world. Okay, you look at the ways of Esau as superior to the ways of the Most High. You look at Esau as he has a better way. You've been deceived. You know, you look at this, you know, convenience and okay. You look at, you know, you're able to, you know, do as thou wilt, okay? Live according to your own means, which that's one of the tenets of Satanism, okay? Is to do your truth, okay? So this man has been able to deceive the masses, all right, that death is life, okay? And it's all about instant gratification and quick enjoyments, okay? So this man has engineered a culture of deception, you know, with technology, all right? And a lot of people are deceived, okay? And they disregard the wickedness of the empire because there's so many perks that they've been able to enjoy in the empire. Okay? And that's a part of this man's witchcraft. You see? So reading it again, verse 10 said, when all deceitfulness and unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. All right, showing you that this is speaking to Israelites. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. And see, the Paul is writing this to the church in Thessalonica, letting them know that a lot of Israelites are fooled by this man's deception. Okay, and in this time, a lot of people will be fooled by this man's deception. Okay, it said that they all might be damned or judged who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness, man. And this is why you go here. And Paul is dealing with this all throughout these different churches in Asia Minor, all right, because they were Greco-Roman out. Okay, so the church will be in the atmosphere where, all right, these other Israelite foreigners will be fully tapped in, all right, to the ways of Greco-Rome. You know, they couldn't see nothing outside of that, man. They love that carefree, do as thou wilt, okay, culture, man. Okay, and Esau has deceived the masses, okay, as if that's the way. You know, he calls it liberty, he calls it equality, he calls it, Esau throws these cute words on his rebellion against righteousness. He calls it liberty, equality, inclusion, human rights, love, okay, and it's complete rebellion, man. Okay, complete disorder. So you read 2 Corinthians 4:3 said, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Hamashiach, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. Okay, and you read this in the NLT. Okay, the guys of this world, Esau, Edom. Okay, when you bring out the gospel and the rebuttal. Okay, any rebuttal against the gospel is a pre-programmed enchantment of Esau. That's the so-called white man's book. You know, there is no God, atheism. All those are enchantments of Esau. Okay, or Christianity, everybody can be saved. All this is an enchantment of Esau. You know, people that disagree, okay, with the gospel, well, that's because they already are enchanted, okay, by the gods of this world. So you read this in NLT, 2 Corinthians 4:4. Satan, who is the God of this world, has blinded the minds of those who don't believe. They are unable to see the glorious light of the good news. Jake can't see that this is good news. Here it is. Esau is trying to put a device in you with programmable money. Okay, that money that expires. Here it is. You niggas talking about generational wealth and getting the bag, and, you know, the community. Well, Esau bringing something that it won't be no such thing as getting the bag. Okay, you're gonna have just enough credits to exist in his digital prison. Okay, but this man has people blinded as if he has their best interest in mind. Okay, as if what he's finna bring transcends, okay, the kingdom that Yahweh Shai finna bring. Okay, so they're not able to see the glorious light of the good news, which the Lord wants 2/3 to be blinded. Okay, by Satan. Okay, it said they don't understand this message about the glory of Hamashiach, who is the exact likeness of the Most High. Okay, so Esau has separated this world far from the understanding, okay, of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Okay, this world is far removed, okay, from understanding, okay, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, you Israelites have been far separated from your power. Okay, that's why the devil, he's finna have his way with you, man. Okay, so that's why now when most of our people hear the gospel, 1 Corinthians 1:18, for the preaching of the cross is to them that perish foolishness. Okay, so the preaching of the cross to them that perish is foolishness, man. Okay? We're talking about the earth giving forth abundance. Okay, no more violence, no more wars. Okay, women being back in order, family being reestablished. Okay, us being changed to immortals. Yahweh Shai establishing the throne of David. Okay, the earth turned back, to a paradise, the earth being beautified. Okay, all these things that we preach, but this is foolishness to our people. But unto us which are saved, it is the power of the Most High. Okay, so under this system, under this rulership of Edom, the Lord has allowed him, all right, to defile and corrupt the minds of the undesired. Okay, to where they're just here to be judged now, and where the good news sounds like foolishness, but this digital prison, okay, the Esau is getting ready to bring sounds like paradise to them. Okay, that's why, we are told not to waste a lot of time on Jake, man. Okay, they don't believe. My elder Apostle Hart said in live camp the other day. You warn a nigga about 1 or 2 times, and after the second time, which the scriptures say that, hey, reject, man. Okay, go be an American. All right. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 13 said, but we are bound to give thanks always to the Most High for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because the Most High have from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification on the Spirit, all right, and belief of the truth. So there's a remnant that was chosen, okay, for salvation. And the token of that remnant is that they will believe and they will have the spirit of truth. They will have the spirit of faith, the gift of faith, and they would understand the truth. And this should be an inspiration for us to keep going in this way. Because the Lord has us operate in the spirit of belief and truth, man. So now it's just keep going. That's why I say hold fast. Matter of fact, it's gonna say that. The fact that we got the spirit of belief and truth now we just gotta hold it, all right, during this temptation. You see, it said, wherein he called you, all right, 1 and 2, he called you by our gospel to the obtaining of the glory of our Lord Yahweh Shah Hamashiach. Yeah, during the hearing of this word was an invitation. When we heard this word, this was Yahweh Bashima Shah inviting us in. We're called. Okay, we're called for salvation. We're called for glory, man, for mercy in these times. You see, through the hearing of this word. Therefore, brethren, stand fast and hold the tradition which you have been taught, whether by word or our epistles, so whether in person or by these epistles. Okay? Hold fast, stand fast. You see? Because we got the spirit of truth and the spirit of belief, man. Now we just got to hold fast. It said, now our Lord Yahweh Shah himself and our power, even our Father, which have loved us and have given us everlasting consolation and good hope through grace, comfort your hearts, establish you in every good work, okay, and work, So, yeah, that's 2 Thessalonians 2 and 17, okay, the Wali how about you, Shah, for, allowing us to understand the truth, to believe, and to be able to labor and serve, okay? So now this is our life. This is what we do until the chariots come, man. And even when we can't work and do the labor, all right, we have to just hold fast to the faith at that time. That home stretch, that last stretch is gonna be pure faith, man, believing. Okay, that he is and his son is the deliverer. So, Lord will you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified till next time I say shalom. Kwam Yashalom. Bible soon, shalom.